Hey, people, welcome to episode number 4. If I'm looking up, it's because my camera's all screwed up. I'm a little screwed up. Mercury in retrograde screwed up. And just letting you know, if none of you don't know, how rough this has been for many of us right now. And it's insane. We even have a winner in the, I can't find them, Mr. Disgruntled Man wins a 30-minute session with me because of the comments that he's left on Spotify. So I want to thank him for that, and he's going to get that reading. So that's where that goes. And we're going to continue doing that, and it will always be somebody random. So hopefully you'll like that. I like it, and we'll just go from there. So how has Mercury in retrograde been doing for you lately? I know it's been a little bit difficult for me. It's been a little bit difficult for everybody. And right now, as we're sitting into the month of Libra, which is amazing because I'm a Libra. Sorry, excuse me, a little cough. October 13th is my birth date. And so I've been doing this Mercury in retrograde thing for a long time. And I always come out of the third one pretty exhausted and fed up and done with everything. And I'm noticing that a lot of people are doing the same thing. In the last 2 weeks in Mercury in retrograde, I have received 127 requests for questions as to why things are going on. I felt very bad for everyone because I couldn't answer those questions. And I was trying to understand how bad this was actually working on people because I didn't think it was going to be really as aggressive as it was. But right now, all I know is that the next month and a half, there's going to be a lot better opportunities after October 2nd for every birth sign. The most difficult one that is going to have a hard time right now is going to be the Aries and then the Capricorns. Those two signs are going to have an issue in gathering all their thoughts together, putting everything together, because the last 3 weeks of the Mercury in retrograde, it really put them in a hole, made them feel uncomfortable, made them not feel like they, I don't know why, but it wasn't a very good thing at that point. So what I'm saying is take your time, and as we get, 8 days into October 2nd, it's almost like everything cuts itself off. Everything starts to get better, and we start to feel better. So there's a healing process of a couple of days into it. So by the 4th of October, everybody should be back to normal. What I'm saying now is those contracts that you were waiting to sign are good to sign. The relationships that were broken, listen, and I'm not a marriage counselor. I do help in relationship matters. But let me tell you something, with Mercury in retrograde, it brought you both to a pinnacle point in your lives that you knew what you liked and disliked. So the disconnect for both of you is going to be very strong. And my humble suggestion is to step away from each other for another month or so, get back together in a conversation, see if you can't restart a dialogue. And if that happens, then it might work out better. But a majority of relationships that have broken up in the last 2.5 weeks, just don't worry about it. I think it was maybe for the best. And it doesn't matter what their excuses were, what your excuses were. It was meant to be. So as sad as that sounds, I'm really sorry for everybody, but that's just basically what we have to do. I do have an amazing guest. She's intuitive. She investigates haunted places all across Ontario. Her hashtag on TikTok is hauntingly Krista, and it's Krista Maryk. And she is going to give us a lot of insight as to why she's doing what she's doing and what she's trying to get in her life. So hopefully this will happen and things will turn out to be really, really good. What I'm suggesting here is that if you have questions for Krista, and if you've looked her up in the last few minutes and you have questions, we're going to take a look in the chat and we'll try and get those in for you to answer. For all of my friends that have put up with me for the last 2 weeks and my moods, sorry and thank you all at the same time. It's been pretty rough. For my life coach clients, I know we've been working on so many different things, and I thank you very much for that. And hopefully we'll get better at the things that we need to do. Is there anything, does anybody have any questions on the chat room? Are we looking for anything at that time? And I'm just wondering if we need to talk about anything different, anything that you're looking for, or should we just go ahead and get ready for Krista to come in the next 8 minutes or so? So I'm trying to work on that. Hey, Joe, are you there? He's not going to answer. Hey, Joe. Joe is our handsome producer of the show, and he's been doing his thing, and he's surviving the baptism of his youngest son, which is kind of cool. And so he's going through the motions and getting things done. And is there anything that, like, we have Matthew in the lobby, I see there, Joe. Okay, so he's just sitting in there just vegging, right? You know, so Matthew, make your hair make it look like really, really good for us, okay? That's what we're looking for. Okay, so tomorrow is another day for everybody, and what I'm saying, getting into the Libra side of everything, opportunity for you guys in for Libras, since we're into Libra. The balance is going to start to work out for you. The opportunities are going to come to you. So when you're working on yourself and you're working on the things that need to get done, really start making that list and get those things ready, because you're not going to go through them right now because most Libras are lazy right now. We want people to do it for us. Right, Joe? And then when we can't find somebody to do it for us, that's the most difficult time for us. Please cross your T's and dot your I's a little bit for the next few days. But by Saturday, everything is going to start feeling better. That means that we're really coming out of the retrograde and that we can be better prepared, and we're not going to feel like our heads are in a vice. So Libras, take it easy on yourself. Stop blaming yourself for things that you haven't done. We can be difficult at times. We're a little bit blunt in our conversations, but the people who know us, love us, they get that with us and they put up with us. So that's kind of cool. For the Virgos that just finished off their monthly birthday season, all the opportunities for you start on October 6th, and they don't end until the end of 2023 now. So if you're looking for that new job, if you're looking to have to start a family, if you're getting married, if you're moving and buying a house, all of those things are going to be good. So all I'm hoping for is that when you get these things, that you will enjoy them for a change, and you just won't put them by the side and just say, I'll get to them later. Virgos, get on top of that right away, okay? And that'll be really cool. I got a question from the audience. Does the date 20/06/2022 tell me anything? It's just letting me know basically that there's a lot of challenges for people from that date. It doesn't seem like it's always the right thing. And if it's a birth date or something to that effect for someone, that means that you're going into a situation where you're going to be in control. And that's going to be really, really good for people. That's what I know from that date. If there is issues with your family members right now, Libras, understand that you love balance. You do not like to fight. You do not like to have those discussions that you don't know what you're trying to achieve, and you're becoming really, really bad with your money. So Libras, stop spending money, okay? That's an important thing for all of you. And because of that, you're not going to be looked at very fairly, because of the way that you spend your money. Because I don't know how often I spend money on myself. I do. I never get any complaints by it whatsoever, but I think we're going to over splurge a little bit in the month of October. Let's try not to do that. Stick to your Thanksgiving Day wishes, which is very soon for most of us, and that's going to be great. And try and get together for family. I'm just trying to think of other things that I can tell you that worry me, and I hope they don't worry you as much. The pressing the button with Mr. Putin has really gotten to a lot of people and made a lot of people stress. I think that a realistic point of view here is that Putin's high-end paid buddies are telling them don't even bother or think of doing that. So I think his ego is getting dropped, and it's going to just be glorious for the Ukraine and the Ukrainian people to take back their property, to live their lives, and Russia can go back into the hole that they were in. Now, it's not the people that I'm complaining about, but it's their government. And the rumor has it, to scare everybody else off, is that if Putin's going to be ousted and removed from the head of state, the next one is no better. I can't see that. I don't think that they're going to allow that either. Anyway, that's where we're at. And if we can get ready for Krista and get her on the air, and we can start asking these questions, and hopefully she's around by now. And is there anything that we need to know from anyone? And okay, now here we go. And I'm going to play a sound right now as I introduce Krista Maryk. And ready, everybody, and lower the clapping. Here we go. Okay. Krista, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I have been following you, and I get to read every place that you've gone to, and I've been to many of them through my old show, Knock Knock Ghost. And every time you go into one of those, it brings back such a great memory of what I saw, the attitudes of different things, the feelings that we get. And I had so many questions when I was watching you that I really did want you on the show. And I'm just kind of curious, out of everything that you've done, the intuitive side of you, what do you give yourself credit for in that ability of yours? Where does it come from? Is there a past with that, or?
You know, I always wonder the same thing for myself. A lot of it comes from, I've always been really good at reading energies of people living, but also the paranormal as well. So a lot of my paranormal experiences come by energy, and I can like just feel that there's some sort of something in the air, something different, whether it be good, bad, and it might stem from the fact that I grew up in a haunted house. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was definitely, it was my childhood home, and it was definitely visited quite frequently. So, I feel like it could potentially be stemming from there, but it's just something that I've always known, like ever since I was young enough to remember. I've always had paranormal feelings and experiences, again, with the energy. Yeah.
Which is awesome. And so have you been able to do any psychic readings with your friends and stuff? Have you ever tried to do any of that?
I haven't yet. I actually got my first tarot deck from one of my friends for my birthday, so I need to get a sense of how to use them correctly. But I definitely want to dabble more into that for sure. But I know, like, there's so many different tarot cards, so it's like there's a lot to remember.
It is, and I've been blessed with a few of them, and people have sent them to me, which I have friends of mine, and mine are the animal totems, which I love the most, and they give me a lot of information, and it's so helpful in turning a card over and knowing that I'm going to have something positive to say, and then I try and avoid the negative or the challenge stuff for people, because they don't want to pay to listen to how bad life is going to be for the next month or something, right? So
right.
We try to be as positive as we can. So growing up in a home that was active and somewhat haunted, do you remember seeing anything? Because I've listened to some of your clips with you and your dad. Was this in your home when you saw this shadow person? I'm very curious about that one. I
It
like
wasn't
that.
in our yeah, that one wasn't in our home, but it was in our hometown. So I grew up in Oakville, Ontario, and we were just driving past in downtown Oakville. There's a theater, a community center, which apparently was built on a burial ground, which we found out later. And we had our first paranormal experience together, where we both saw this the shadow figure just drop from the staircase, and it was one of the most terrifying things, just because of like the scream that it made. And when we came out of the car to assist this person who had fallen down these like cement stairs, like at almost a 90-degree drop, and there was no one in sight, we were both just like, that's not normal. And then finding out later that it is supposedly haunted, they call the entity Alice. Not too sure why. I'm assuming they've had paranormal investigators in to determine a name, but it's supposedly really visited. But that was in our hometown, just not the actual house itself.
Okay. What part of town did you grow up in? Was it always Oakville, or was this haunted home somewhere else in Ontario?
The haunted home was in Oakville. It's currently, my parents still actually live there. So, but I grew up in Mississauga first. I was about 7 years old when I left. So, don't really remember too much of that home, but the home that I remember is the one in Oakville that I spent 20 years of my life in, basically, and got to really know this entity that resided mostly in the basement, mostly a trickster, but yeah.
There you go. And I know these tricksters and the trickster side of them, they love basements. I don't understand it. I don't know why they don't go to an attic. It would be much better for them, but it's always the basement.
Yeah.
You know? And every horror movie is always go to the basement, you know, and why are you going to the basement? Like, come on. And
it's so cliche, but it's so true.
I know it is the weirdest thing. And at the London Psychiatric Hospital that I was in, they had almost 29 kilometers of tunnels.
Wow.
And during my filming, I prefer if we have no power. So they shut off all the power grid completely. And when we were walking, and we thought they were power spurts, but exit lights would flash off and on every once in a while. And we had police officers who would guard the place or take care of us because we had the higher security. And they didn't want to stick around because they saw people running down the hallways, which were shadow people. And it freaked the crap out of them, right? So it was just like, and they were already cold because we filmed in November, and they were still even more freezing in certain areas. So it was kind of interesting. So I think we need to go there, you and I.
Absolutely.
Just go check it out because it is now being used for a lot of theatrical things and movies and TV shows. So that's going to be kind of interesting.
I feel like the two of us together could. Oh, sorry.
No, please go right ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like the two of us together could really like catch some crazy things there.
Good. Double the energy and just going in there and like, I have no fear. I don't know what you're like with the dead, but if you're fearful, then that's kind of good for me. Because
yeah.
I
definitely would say I'm pretty fearless when it comes to this stuff. I mean, I get freaked out, but like I welcome everything. I've learned as an investigator that I kind of have to welcome.
Prepare yourself, right? And it's for me, and I try to explain this to our audience and any podcast that I'm on, is I'm more afraid of the living than I am of the dead.
You said it.
And if we are, and most of the dead want to relay a message back to us, and they're not so much haunting us, but they either can't find the light, they want to go home, they don't know why they're dead. There's always, just like us, alive, we don't know what we're doing half the time. And when they're in that, find the light, they want to go home, they don't know why they're dead. There's always, just like us, alive, we don't know what we're doing half the time. And when they're in that entity of space of darkness, they need a light. And truly, between you and I and the audience, because you are a beacon of light, I'm a beacon of light. So we give them the opportunity to see light again, and we can push them towards the light. And I don't know if you've ever seen the light yourself to direct spirits in, or if you've helped them, but I see it all the time.
I wish I've seen it. I have not seen it yet, but I always try, when I go into any kind of investigation, I always try to envision myself with a light around me, even beyond the fact that I'm a beacon of light. Just like always envision that light, because if there is something dark, my thing is darkness doesn't like light. So kind of like
they get mad at us because they do. And what a lot of investigators and young investigators and old investigators, they do not understand that they have a file on us that could be this big. They feel us, they know us, and they look for our weaknesses, and they just dive right into them if they can. So when we go into a place and we're more excited about seeing them than they are of us, they go away. And then we get the opportunity to send a lot more of the spirits that are being held captive or just lost and send them to the light. So that's kind of cool. So my question for you is, where is the most active place you've been since you've been doing this, young lady?
Oh, goodness gracious. That is such a hard question. Currently, I'd have to say, recently I joined a paranormal investigation team. They're some of the most amazing people ever, and we really connect as a group. Yeah, for sure. So it's Bearded Zombie on TikTok, bearded_zombie. His name is Rafe, and his wife Kelly, and James White from James White Seance. And we honestly, we click really well. We've done a couple investigations so far with all of our busy schedules. And recently we went to an Army base camp that's on private property. It's privately owned in Ontario. And it was the second time I went. I went there once to kind of just vet out the situation, and it had a lot of energy to it. And then the second time we came back, it was just, it was crazy, because whatever we were speaking to did not like the men that were there, and only would want to speak to the women. So it was really a chance that myself and Kelly and the other woman that were there with us that owned the property, we really got to connect with specifically children's spirits, which was heartwarming and touching and beautiful, but also heartbreaking, just because obviously this child passed away untimely, and it was a neat experience to actually get to connect with that spirit and all the energy that's just around it. There were some other things coming through. We filmed the whole thing, so that will be coming out probably in like November, but it was definitely one of the more crazy paranormal investigations that I've had. Like just the evidence after evidence, and like very what's the word? Like intelligent responses.
Beautiful. And those are active, and those are good. And then you're going to have a problem editing the good and the bad and the ugly, right? And that's going to be difficult. You know, it'll be something for everyone to deal with. So that's really great. Where in Bracebridge did you go?
In at the Falls.
Oh, Niagara Falls.
In at the Falls.
Oh, in at the Falls. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly. I think is that Gravenhurst?
That's Gravenhurst. Sorry. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No problem. My fault.
No worries.
I find that place was very, very haunted, very busy, very active, and a lot of unhappy spirits in there. And I could barely remove any of them because they were just challenging me at every move that I made. My hair was being pulled and tugged, and the worst part of it is having that punch or something that you can feel really bad. Have you been physically attacked by anything since you've been working and doing this?
So I might have, again, going back to the Army base camp, I'm pretty sure we were doing a spirit board session, and I'm pretty sure I felt something touch my back.
Oh, wow.
But there was also a bunch of bugs flying around us, so it could have been something else landing on me. So but it was more of a force. So there was that. But then also recently, my aunt has psychic abilities herself, and we went to Casa Loma which is also notoriously haunted here in Toronto.
It is.
And we went to the tunnels, and my aunt many years ago had a paranormal experience in the tunnels where she was actually pushed by Lady Pellet herself.
She was.
And she was pushed downstairs, actually. So there's like a set of stairs in the tunnel,
Yep.
and she was pushed down that. And we went back together, and we were just kind of, absorbing the energy of the area. Sorry. We were observing the energy of the area, and my aunt started closing her eyes so she could really get a grasp of what was there as we were at the top of the stairs. So I stood in front of her with my back to the stairs because in case she was pushed again, and something rocked me backwards. And as soon as she opened her eyes, she saw me get pushed back. I caught myself. I didn't fall down the stairs, but that was definitely the most forceful. Yeah. Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome in a way, but not. And sometimes they want to be aggressive, and a lot of them want to get their point across. And then there's probably some jealousy in there from the spirit themselves,
Yeah, definitely.
And when they do see and feel that we notice them and look at them, they really get worked up about it because you can see me. What's going on? Why are you doing this? And, they don't want to go anywhere. I don't feel the husband at all at Casa Loma. I've always felt the presence of the wife and how unhappy she was in the gardens. And she was mostly, for me, in the room with all the clocks.
Oh, okay.
Stairs. And that was very active for me. But I thought that might have been a portal at the same time.
Potentially.
So
I could see that.
Kind of things. I wanted to ask something that was sad, and I noticed it the very first time that you were talking about certain things, and this was about this young 14-year-old that was an unsolved hit and run, Lucas Shorttree. And you came on with that, and you really, there was such love coming from you when you were saying this. Was there a specific reason that you were trying to help at that point?
Honestly, it felt natural. Before my first unsolved case that I covered on my TikTok was the Rockwood Jane Doe. And when I posted that, I had a bunch of people requesting cases, and someone commented, actually a few people, I believe, commented, if I would cover the Lucas Shorttree case. And I looked into it, and I made a video on it back in March. And then obviously just this past month, it was solved, and they found the people that did it. And when I heard that, I had never heard about the case before. It was such a new case to me, and I don't have ties to the family in any way. It just hit different.
Doesn't it? It's so weird when we find somebody that was accidentally killed or murdered or foolishness by somebody else, and then they try and hide that. And justice was made because September 21st is when it was resolved, and the man was caught, the woman was an accessory, and they've both been charged. And I just love that whole thing about you representing somebody that you didn't know, and I think you're amazing for doing that, by the way. I just truly, you don't get enough of that. And I can tell when we're Canadian, because Canadians do that all the time.
Yeah, I have a lot of those Canadian tendencies, eh?
And our A's always work. So I always get comments on our A's and our stories, and we're even saying sorry to each other as a host and a group. And right, so it's very funny for us, and I kind of like that. But I just really, really, from my heart, I wanted to say thank you for doing that. Of course. Because you do get the comments, but I did want to get the voice out there to say thank you for doing that. Okay.
Thank you. I definitely plan on doing more of them. People keep commenting about different cases that are still unsolved, so it's something that I am passionate about continuing on my page as well.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Another question, young lady.
Yes.
What part of your soul being do you feel the most? I ask this to many of my psychic guests and people that I know. This is going to be a tough one, but for me, were aura colors. I saw aura colors at 5. So I was able to determine aura colors to like a mood ring that people used to buy in the 70s that now is a big thing all over again in this day and age. But I was able to see the colors, which were amazing. And what is it about you? What do you think was your soul being to find out what made you feel this intuitive psychic ability? I'm putting you on the spot.
So hard. Oh my goodness. I have not been able to see auras. I've always been intrigued by that, though. That's for sure. It always goes back to energy. It's like this. It's this thing. I don't know how to describe it. So I'm gonna try my best. But whenever I meet someone new or like I come into a situation, I get like, it's almost like a feeling in, like, I'm going to say like my like heart, because like comes from like the chest region.
Yep.
And it just like, I'll either get like a sinking feeling. So I'll be like, this is something's off about this, or I'll kind of like glow, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
And then it's like,
no, everything that you're saying makes sense to this guy. But it's it's nice to give a description to somebody who might actually be also intuitive and they get these feelings. And I'm always wanting an example so that maybe they can see themselves, because more and more intuitive people are coming out now because it's not so taboo anymore. Mm-hmm. And I am so fascinated by the younger generation being able to come out and just say, I've got this. This is what I'm feeling. And there's no BS that's coming with it. It is an actual genuine energy that's coming out. So again, kudos for you, and sorry about that tough question.
No worries. Yeah, it's just like, it's hard because it's like a feeling thing. And I always had a really hard time describing feelings in particular, just because it's like, oh, I know what I'm feeling, but how do I verbalize it?
So being the grandfather in some of this stuff, whenever I go into, I have a ritual that I do. I white light myself immediately from head to toe, put the white light under my feet, and knowing that I'm going into something that might be difficult or challenging at any time. And that white light really works. But what I've learned from a demonologist was to visually put a mirror on me and invert it so that anything that is challenging or trying to attack me will bounce back directly to them. And that has worked for me now for about a good 7 years.
Interesting.
If you ever feel uncomfortable, just visualize a mirror on you and throw it on the outside, and you're going to feel a lot calmer, just to let you know. But we'll get together. We're going to go investigate something really crazy together, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll with it. I'm just trying to think of some other things. Yes. Your very first, because I go right down to your very first TikTok, okay?
Yeah.
I was sitting there and I was looking at your aura colors. Other than the slight anxiety that you were having putting that together, you were so genuine in your very first TikTok that I just loved it. And your colors were like a rainbow. So you were
really
off and giving us information, making us feel good, explaining the place, explaining the surroundings, and we need more intuitives like you to say, come on out, share your little part of your city and let us know what Mississauga is like, and we'll come in and investigate, or, give us your thoughts and involve the person that's trying to give us the answer, because it's important to them too to feel like they're not crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And with your new investigative team, they've got to be loving that because they've got an intuitive with them.
I hope so. Hopefully they don't get rid of me anytime soon.
No, I don't think they will.
No, I don't think they will either. It was a joke.
Good. Now, we've only got a few minutes here left. So I'm just wondering, is there anything that you want to share with my audience? And my audience is not as large as the 144K followers that you have on TikTok, young lady. Wow.
It's crazy. I still can't believe that. It's like, and it gets bigger every day, and it's crazy.
What is it that you want to share with us, for us to understand exactly why you're doing this? What is it what is it that really makes you famous in a way? Because you are.
Yeah. Well, oh, thank you. I do what I do because again, it's an interest of mine. That's always been there. And I got to a point in my life where I was like, I'm a full grown adult and I don't, it's such a controversial topic, the paranormal. Not everyone believes in it. And people look at you like you're crazy sometimes. But I got to a point where I was like, I don't care what people think about me. Like, this is what I believe in. I know this is real and I'm going to do what I want to do and I'm going to enjoy it. And other people should feel that way as well. And I want people to feel like if you have experiences or if you're interested in this, pursue it and don't let the fear of like people thinking you're crazy stop you from having the beliefs that you have. And especially with the paranormal, you hear about all these amazing places like the Conjuring House, like the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in the States, but you barely hear about the places like in Ontario. People think Ontario is so boring and like there's nothing here, but there's so much to explore here. And there's so much history here and it's such a large place. And like, I feel like it's so fascinating for people when they come across my content to know that right in their backyard, they have a legend or ghost story or something spooky that they can investigate themselves. And I love bringing that to people. And
I love that whole story because this is what gives other people opportunities because I'm giving a stat here. Back in 2000, there was only 8% of the world's population that believed in us, intuitives and psychics. Now we're sitting at 27%. 22 years later.
That's crazy.
And what it is we're now with technology that everybody's been using, and we have the videos, we have the closed caption TV showing, we have the UFOs that are out there. We see things differently now, and us, the enlightened ones that are able to go in and help somebody resolve an issue or get a message, because they're certainly going to start talking to you a lot more and they're going to start giving you a lot more information. That much I do know as a psychic. And you're an old soul. You just haven't caught up to yourself yet. And so all of this is going to be super for you. It's going to be great. Maybe your grandpa didn't want you to be a lawyer because he knew that you had better things going.
Probably. But yeah, no, I definitely see that. And as because I've only been doing investigations for a couple of years now, and
you're seasoned.
Seasoned, and I just feel like every single day, like there's still so much to learn. Like I'll never be an expert in this field because again, it's ever growing, right? Maybe I don't know, but I just feel like I know that there's so much more for me to do, and I'm excited to see what the spiritual world has to offer me.
Krista, you're our Ontario expert for sure.
Thank you.
We've got something that we will turn to you to probably be recognized on. I'm letting you know this as a psychic giving you a reading.
Yeah.
Netflix could knock on your door to just say, we need you as a historian, even though you're an intuitive, give us the information so that we can follow through, so that they're not doing all the homework we are and giving them our spiritual fact. And I think that that's where you're going to go with it. Plus the book that you're going to write in a few years. So there's a lot happening for you.
I love that.
I know.
And yeah, of course you know. But yeah, that's definitely, I have a lot of goals and I have a lot of things that I have planned for the future of doing this, and it's going to be exciting.
I'm still going strong. I'm enjoying everything. I enjoyed the TV show that I was doing, but I needed to explore and do things like what you're doing, more independent, more realistic in my values and what I try to do, because only now are the paranormal investigators seeing that their actions of being derogatory and mean and doing little seances and yelling and screaming at them. Human beings don't like to be screamed at and yelled at. And we're going in there with the intent to resolve something and to help people. And that's what I know about you. That's what you do really, really well.
Thank you.
So we're coming to the end of this, and I want you to share some information with us so that everybody else knows where you are, so we can get you bigger and better, and people will start knocking on your door a lot more. Hit us with all that information, and we'll be able to share it with everyone.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me on TikTok at Hauntingly Krista, and on Instagram at Hauntingly Krista as well. And my YouTube channel is Krista Maryk, just my name, first and last. And that's really all I'm active on at the moment. But who knows? Might be growing on the platforms.
My producer, Joe, is going to get ready to hear some cheering happening now, so he's going to lower the volume on this one. But I am humbled by your presence on my show, White Noise, and I hope to get you back more often so that we can start sharing some more stories, and we're both comfortable with one another, and maybe we can go live on YouTube one day and both do an investigation and to help people. And that's what I know about you. That's what you do really, really well.
Thank you.
So we're coming to the end of this, and I want you to share some information with us so that everybody else knows where you are, so we can get you bigger and better, and people will start knocking on your door a lot more. Hit us with all that information, and we'll be able to share it with everyone.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me on TikTok at Hauntingly Krista, and on Instagram at Hauntingly Krista as well. And my YouTube channel is Krista Maryk, just my name, first and last. And that's really all I'm active on at the moment. But who knows? Might be growing on the platforms.
My producer, Joe, is going to get ready to hear some cheering happening now, so he's going to lower the volume on this one. But I am humbled by your presence on my show, White Noise, and I hope to get you back more often so that we can start sharing some more stories, and we're both comfortable with one another, and maybe we can go live on YouTube one day and both do an investigation together, because that is something that I think both our audiences would love.
Definitely, I agree, and I look forward to it.
Me too. All right, so thank you very much. Enjoy your time. I hope to have you on maybe towards Christmas, and we can celebrate some of this again, and maybe we can have some Christmas haunted stories together.
Love it.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much, Krista. I enjoyed this whole time. All right.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Now. So there we go. What a time. And we're ending that with that quick one here. And I'm actually going to go right in. I've got a few minutes here. And it's, hey, Joe, where are you? So do we? Let's talk to them. What do we got? I don't see any. Yes, I was stabbed at the Godrich jail going up the stairs. It was the craziest thing. And I was shivved is what they said. And I didn't understand what that meant until they explained it to me. It was a makeshift knife or something back in the day. And we had to stop filming for about 45 minutes to an hour. I think it was about an hour to stop the bleeding, because my cameraman was behind me as we were going up the stairs. And I said, wow, that hurts. And as I said that, blood was dripping off of a shirt that I was wearing, and they had to stop the bleeding. So we had to cut the film at that point. So yeah, that was a crazy time back then. I was choked in Fort Henry to a point that I had to go out and get some fresh air, and my hair was pulled. And Bracebridge at in on the Falls or something like that. I can't remember. We were talking with Krista there, and it was pretty crazy. And so I've been damaged goods for a little while now. Thank you. I'm trying to look perfect for everybody, right? Look at me fixing myself here. Go ahead. Sure, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. When I went, there was a friend of mine who had passed away at a hospital in Brampton, the new hospital in Brampton. So it was recently very, very new. And sadly, his wife was having surgery at St. Mike's. And now St. Mike's Hospital in Toronto is one of the most haunted places I've ever been in the world. And when I walked there, her husband, who died in Brampton Hospital, was at St. Mike's Hospital and was trying to push everyone away from his wife. And it was really quite like a couple of the nurses that were there actually saw his apparition and described him to a T. And his wife showed pictures of him, and both nurses said that was the spirit that they had seen, which was her husband. So we got some crazy shit that happens around here, you know. All right, let's talk to Matthew.
Hello.
Hey, Matthew, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm sorry, I was just watching the YouTube there. I didn't realize that there was a delay.
It's all good.
How's the hair look?
You know, you look damn handsome. And why are you nervous?
I'm sorry?
Why are you nervous? You
told me to make sure my hair looked good before, so I just wanted to make sure it was on par, you know?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're going to be a papa again.
I'm sorry?
You're going to be a dad soon.
Yeah, for the third time.
Third time. So you're just trying to beat Joe? Is this what this is, a competition? I mean,
it's constant cat and mouse, you know?
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you.
I can't seem to catch up.
And it looks like I had predicted a girl here, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
I kind of have the same feelings, so.
Matthew, you're in tune, so you know it. And I think it's going to be well-deserved because you need a daughter to kick your ass down the road because the boys, they just won't care, right?
I need a companion, yes.
Yes, you do. I know, because we'll always be in the doghouse and our daughters will always take us out of it. So I thank you very much for allowing me to do this live. It's great to do a male for a change instead of a female.
Well, thank you for having me.
And thank you very much. So we're going to get into this a little bit here, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions because I need to know.
For sure.
So what is your birth date, obviously?
My birthday is September 15th, 1990.
Now, you're very good with your hands, right? You do a lot of work with your hands?
Yeah.
And you like you and I don't know each other, right?
No, we don't know each other. We met once briefly many, many years ago.
Jesus, I don't remember. Did you have that? Did you have the big grizzly beard too?
Yeah, I did.
I'm so sorry, I didn't remember you.
It was very short.
Was it? Were you picking up my producer off the ground because he was drunk, or
something along the lines of that?
Okay.
He may have been picking me up.
Okay, that's perfect. So, you work with your hands. What do you do for a living?
I'm a plumber by trade.
By trade, okay. And what's happening here is there's a lot of decision making that you have to do for your future, obviously, because you're going to have 3 little bambinos running around going crazy. And knowing your wife and her expectations of you are typical for sure. But it's great that she trusts you unconditionally on so many different things, which we don't see in relationships very often. And you take pride in that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and it's not that you're the man's man. We're not chasing that. You are giving her answers when she's asking. There's communication. There's eye-to-eye contact. And that's what Virgos do. Virgos pay attention to their relationships because they're that important. And you don't want to lose out on something that's not going to work for you. Have you ever decided to try and do business on your own yet, or are you still settling down on what you're doing?
So I actually am in business on my own.
You are doing it now, okay?
Yeah. It's been about 6 years.
6 years?
Actually, the first time we crossed paths for a brief time was right around when I was starting on my own.
Oh, wow. Good. Okay.
Yeah, and just a little...
Remember everything.
Yeah, and just a little feedback, too, from when we crossed paths way back then. You said to me, it was very strange. It was like in a very busy setting, and you said to me, you know, there's going to be a Joshua. Do you know a Joshua? And I said, no, I don't. Never met a Joshua before in my life. Nothing rang bells. Like, well, you know a Joshua. There's going to be somebody in your life, Joshua, in your business. that's going to be very helpful for you. It's going to show you a way and this and that. And, it always kind of stayed in the back of my mind. And I never, ever met a Joshua. But one day I was working, this was maybe about a year into my business now at this point. And I realized where this Joshua came from. So we did a lot of work in a condominium when we were first starting out in Oakville, and it really brought us into our scene in some of the areas that we work into now. And this place was like really a gateway, an entryway where we started, helped us grow our roots in our business. And it hit me one day while I was working there. The area in Oakville that we were working was called Joshua's Creek.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. And then when that kind of realized and came to sense to me, I'm like, I've never met a Joshua before in my life, but this area where this condo is situated is called Joshua's Creek. And like, it just made all sense,
Into a positive at that point.
Exactly. So just a little bit of feedback too for yourself, like that brief meeting that we had, and you said that, and it just kind of came together at that one moment, almost a year later, right?
Thank you. That's awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So when I was talking about you going into business for yourself, and I was feeling that, and I'm the honesty of not remembering meeting you, now remembering the story, it hits me. You are going to be buying out another service. You are going to be taking over a new business that didn't work, that somebody was a little bit too cocky. And so you're going to take over their business and their customer list that you always wanted. So that it's going to be a different district for you. And it's going to happen soon.
Really?
And you got to be prepared. And it's not going to cost you money like what you're just worrying about right now. This guy will want to work for you and be an advisor basically until you let him go. But you're going to take this person on to help you take over what he didn't have. So it's going to be a very neat thing for you. So I'm liking this whole situation for you. So it's a building of what you're going to be doing. So I think it's at another end of town that you're going to be able to license yourself and be very much more popular and almost like taking over. It's going to be really good for you. Okay? So that's going to help you.
Are you picking up anything like the different types of field, same field, or it's still hands-on?
It is hands-on again, but it's weird. It's something to do with HVAC. It's something to do more with the AC world, the commercial side of it, that you can plumb in what you need to get done and have this HVAC that needs to be done. So I think that it's going to be the best of both worlds here, because you can be contracted under both of those, and that's going to work for you.
Very interesting.
You don't need to know the HVAC world, but you do in your head. That's the thing, Yeah. So you'll be able to write your own Bible for that one. But you'll be able to have somebody that will be able to manage that for you and make the money that you're looking for. And I still see you retiring in about 18 years.
Really?
You're not going to be doing anything, man. You're going to be taking care of your kids. You're going to be going to your home in Florida, and you're going to be doing absolutely nothing.
It's funny. That's what I work towards. So,
and it's going to be very good for you. It's going to be lucrative. Weirdly, I don't know if this new village that you've created with 3 children, but I do feel 4.
Really?
So,
we gotta draw the line somewhere, Jim.
I heard Joe say that to me one time too, but I am feeling 4 children around you. And the laughter in the background, she knows what I'm talking about too, doesn't she?
I'm going to have to find a new house.
You're just going to have to raise the bungalow, okay? But I am being told you did have a grandfather that passed away, right?
Yeah.
And he's the one who says that your family will be your village. And one more will make you just the king of your village. And it's not about being here. It's about the love that you can give to each child individually, because that is a big part about you. You could be the big teddy bear, but there's a lot of love that you give, and you do it well. And your temper you take out on all the rookies that are working for you. So that's pretty good.
It's possible, yeah.
Well, it's possible. I just feel bad for the rookies. Just don't swear at them so much. They get so worked up.
No, I try and keep a constructive work environment. You know,
your grandfather tells me a little different, but that's okay. You know, you got to give yourself permission to be happy. You feel sometimes like you've done this successfully and you've done well. You educated yourself, but you do not give yourself enough credit. And that's a Virgo, again, always wanting to better themselves, to be good to their family, old school values that are not there anymore, especially from the year 1990. Usually you guys don't give a shit about whatever's going on, right? But yeah, it's very important from the time you go to bed to the time you wake up. It's business. It's, I got to get this done. You got to be, you're scheduled so much that you forget how organized you actually are.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I do try and appreciate it sometimes, but I almost feel like there's never enough time to appreciate it because I'm focusing on what I need to do. You know, I can see where you're coming from for sure with that.
And you know that toy that you want to get, is that the boat?
No, I'm not a big boat guy. I have a couple toys in mind though.
It was something that was like, I maybe it's for your wife, but I'm picking up some kind of like a docked area with a boat, and maybe it's the Sea-Doo type thing, but she wants some R&R away from the kids.
Yeah. I mean, we've had the discussion before. Like, I'm a cottage person, you know. I've always envisioned ourselves, work towards going up to that cottage type of thing. My wife, not so much. She likes to stay, in our home, you know.
But that's going to change with her because after having the children, she's going to need a break.
I'm already getting that hint. That's what I'm saying. I thought we were going to draw the line at 3.
You know what? I think you're talking the talk, but you're not walking the walk. And I think this one, honestly, is going to be a surprise.
Like they all have been.
That's going to be amazing. I'm also being told, and this is not a warning at all, but you really need to start working out a little bit more. You think that the job is giving you the exercise that you need, and I'm being told that you need to realize that it's not about having the 6-pack. At least a 4-pack would be good, but you know what I mean? But you really need to start working out a little bit more because it will reduce a lot of your stress and your anxiety because of being a Virgo. September 15th, your perfectionism can drive everybody crazy, including your in-laws.
Yeah. Including the in-laws.
Including the in-laws, because they can see that you're working so hard and you don't take enough time for yourself because you don't schedule that time for you to be happy. And I know you're happy with the kids that you have already, and I love that.
Yeah.
The idea behind it is you need that extra time. And it's not an old school value. You just need that break.
Yeah, I can appreciate that too. It's something that's always in my mind. I actually enjoy going to the gym. I'm almost a previous hobby of mine. Can't seem to find the time to do it. But it's something that I do enjoy. I find peace, at it. Just exercising, whether it's going for 7-8 kilometer jog or hopping on the bicycle and doing 30, 40 kilometers, or just going to the gym and maybe not even working out, but talking to people I haven't seen in a long time. Like, I do enjoy stuff like that. So it does, take my mind off of things.
And that's great. I just wanted I got to wrap this up, but I wanted to say something that your family, whether they're able to say it or not, okay, because your spirit guides, your grandfather, everyone is extremely proud of you. You stepped up to the plate when you knew when you were a teenager, even though you were a pain in the ass, that they knew that you were going to be somebody for yourself because that is all you ever dreamt about. The Virgo side of you can be very analytical, and you might not be as playful as you used to be, but you will in a few years from now, and your kids are going to love every second of their time with you.
No, thank you. I
You're
appreciate
an amazing human being.
Doesn't mean a lot. I appreciate that.
I do too, in everything, and hopefully we'll all be getting together for a barbecue soon. And
I look forward to it.
All right.
I look
Thank
forward
you so
to it.
much, Matthew. You're an awesome human being.
Thank you.
And give the wife a hug for me, would you? Listen, everyone, I want to thank you all for joining me on this adventure again. Number 4, I can't believe it's already 4. I had a lot of fun. I hope I get to see you all soon. And if there's anybody that is watching the show that wants to be on the show and have a reading like we just did with Matthew, please write into Joe or write onto my website and go onto Wix and just put the question out there. We'll answer you. We'll do as best as we can. Finish off the balance of Mercury in retrograde. Don't get so worked up. Things are going to work out for you. I promise from my heart. And we're going to talk to you soon. Private sessions are available no matter how we look at this. I have them online. Just book me. You'll have a sense of peace because I'm going to help you reduce that anxiety and that stress that you have, because that's what we do. That's what spirit guides do. That's what intuitives should do. We're not out there to take advantage of you, but we're out there to help you. So I want to thank you very much. Go to my website, jimhuntofficial.com. Go to my booking page. Follow me on Instagram. Please follow me on Instagram. I'm on there every day with some kind of meme, and I have a lot of fun, and I do go on there live quite often. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Joseph, thank you very much for doing this. Peace out, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.